Assad, Peymana, Labour and Cooperative Party, 1,450 votes.
Thank you for coming and thank you for agreeing to do this. Welcome. I'm really happy to have you here, Peymana John. And congratulations on your latest accomplishment, becoming a local councillor for your local area. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Tell me, how did it feel to achieve this victory once again? So let's start from there.
First of all, thank you so much, Diana John, for having me on your podcast. I've been watching all of your interviews and we're so proud of you. So thank you so much for having me on your program. It feels good. Third time coming. Most people are like, why are you doing it for a third time? Haven't you had enough? 8 years is a long time to have been a councillor. But I think this time round it was a bit hard and it was much more difficult because, Labour was polling at 20 points. We've never polled so low before. Every other election has been not easy, but it's been different. And this election was much more different. There was more competition. The Greens, the pro-Gaza Independent Party, the Lib Dems, everyone stood for a seat. And then obviously we had the Conservatives and the Labour votes split between the different parties, the different left sort of parties. I was able to hold on because I worked really hard and I think people really noticed that. And it's just name recognition. I think I would have been okay if I had lost, but I think that I feel vindicated for winning because, there was so much negative. It was a very toxic and difficult campaign. So yeah, I feel vindicated to have come out on the other side.
So what made it so difficult this time round for you?
This time round, obviously more people know your name, more people know about the work that you've done at the council, you haven't done. They see you online, they see your commentary on different things. And I also think because I transcend between sort of local politics and foreign policy and national politics, that some people maybe don't like my views on foreign policy or don't like my views on certain things. So then they feel like they can just, say whatever they want to say to you online, be abusive, be threatening. I don't think it was like this before. Like when I first became a councillor, I didn't have that. So people didn't know me that well, or I don't know. I didn't have that name recognition. And now I have that name recognition. People feel like they're justified in showing me their anger, or me being the target of their anger on specific issues.
But yeah, understood. You've topped the poll when you won this election, so that itself says a lot. But of course, it wasn't just you that won. There was other females that were from Afghanistan, and they won as well in their own areas. There was Rabia John Nassimi and Shiro John Karimi. Now I'm going to ask. We're at a time where we have girls here that can go forward and have a part in such key places, like have key chairs. But then we have Afghanistan, who's very restricted, and girls don't have as many opportunities. They're very limited to education. They're limited to being able to work. How does that make you feel, knowing that you've got these opportunities, and then there's girls in Afghanistan that don't?
I think that it's such a shame, and it's really, really deeply distressing and heartbreaking for all of us who are Afghans and who live in the UK. We have such privilege and we live such normal, ordinary lives. We've got access to education, work, like so many different opportunities. And these girls in Afghanistan don't have that under the Taliban regime. But I think one of the things for me that is a positive is that us being active in our own communities and us raising our voices and being active, whatever industry you're in, whatever profession you're in, doesn't have to be politics. It could be anything really, journalism or media or anything, that shows us that Afghan culture actually encourages girls to go outside the box and to excel and do well in their professional work and their professional life. And I think that we are examples of that. And so, yeah, it makes me feel incredibly privileged. And also, I understand that whatever I do is I'm a role model example for other women and other girls in my community who might look at me and think, oh, that's what I want to do one day. And I don't see why they shouldn't feel that they can do it. So I feel like I broke down a barrier in 2018 when I first got elected, but it's taken the best part of 10 years for other Afghans to feel like they can get involved. Although when I first stood for election, I didn't win for the first time in 2014. So it has been a very long time that I've been involved in politics.
This is your third time, but what is so appealing in this role? What is so rewarding in this role that you wanted to go for it for the third time?
There's lots of pros and cons in any job, right? But I think the biggest thing for me was being able to help and support my community and actually doing little projects that make them felt representative. So yes, I'm there for all communities, regardless of what religion or race or ethnicity or whatever they are. And I support them regardless of that. But I think in a special way, I've been able to do sort of little projects for Afghans too. Like in 2019, I helped bring the Zora Orchestra, the first Afghan girls orchestra, over from Afghanistan to the UK. And then they did a community event in Harrow at the Harrow Arts Centre with our Harrow young musicians and the Afghan Girls Orchestra. And it was a lovely community concert that we did. And that made the community feel represented. We, for example, on the 100 years anniversary of Afghanistan's independence in 2019, we raised the Afghan flag at Harrow Council, the first ever UK council to do it. We had members of the community there. We cut a little cake. We played both national anthems. It was just like such a representative moment for people in our community. So I think things like that. And then there are sort of other little things that you kind of do for the community that they feel like they can come and talk to you about their problems, whether it's about their business, whether it's about housing, whether it's about work or education. That's the appealing part to me, being able to actually resolve and help people and help them fix whatever is troubling them. That appeals to me, especially when it comes to housing and especially when it comes to like long-term accommodation.
With everything that we do, it's either we learn from them or we achieve them and we succeed in them. But in these years that you've been a local councillor, what have you learned that you will make sure to do better this time round?
In the last 8 years, I think I've been very good at social media. I've been very good at like doing this stuff but not telling people that I'm doing it or like posting about it. I post very ad hoc and not everything gets posted. So I post very small like highlight reels of like fancy events or that kind of thing. And then sometimes I just don't even post. Like I'll do something and I just don't post about it. That's one thing I've kind of fallen out of, like the whole social media telling people about what you're doing. I haven't been very good at that. So I think I want to get better at it. I think I'd be telling officers, we have civil servants within the council who basically work for the councillors. Definitely being more assertive on what kind of things we want to achieve, and knowing how to get that done. So now I know exactly what to say, when to say it, how to negotiate internally within the council to get the thing that I want done. So on behalf of obviously my residents, not just myself, but my residents and my constituents. So yeah, I think that's for sure what I know how to do better now.
That's good. And what specific issues do you want to work on this time round? What are you aiming to do this time round for your local area?
We've kind of like committed to obviously making sure that we represent all constituents and run smaller specific campaigns on specific issues. The main thing really is picking up small campaigns, things that really bother people in their life and they feel like it's not getting sorted out. But if a councillor takes it on and runs a campaign on it, then it can be fixed. It could be from like putting a zebra crossing on a specific road because people are speeding, or I don't know, changing the way specific things happen in the council that people aren't happy about, or representing them on their planning cases, just very random and very different things, but things that really bother people and make their life harder, and you could just make it easier by helping them.
With politics, of course, it's a very challenging path to take, as with anything, but I think politics is a bit more challenging because you face scrutiny, you face people, and some of them are not really nice to come across.
Yes.
How do you, what keeps you going when the going gets tough? What keeps you motivated?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's been really hard, I think, over the last 4 years, especially online, like operating online as an Afghan woman, but also as someone involved in British politics. It has been very, very difficult because I've had attacks not only from my own community, but from others, based on views that I have on specific issues that they might not agree with. I didn't come into this role for people's like congratulatory or nice comments, right? That's not what I came into this work for. I came in because I saw a need for change and a need that I wanted to be at the decision-making table to help advocate for people who were vulnerable or who didn't have a voice, or whose voice wasn't reaching that level of power. I didn't come in for people to say, oh, you're such a nice person, or well done, or congratulations. That's not what this is for. And if that is the reason why you got into politics for in the first place, then it's not going to last long, because people will always feel like they can say things to you, but you have to believe in yourself. The reality is that I think our community, Afghans, feel like there's only one person can do it. Or there's only a space for one person, but actually there's loads of space for everybody to be successful and everybody to achieve something. And I'm happy to see, other Afghans who are involved in politics, or other Afghans who want to get involved. I want to see that happen. If it comes from a place of jealousy and envy, I tend to ignore it. But if there's other criticism and, oh, you're not doing this, or you said you would do this, then obviously I listen and see where I can fix those things. But then the other side of it is I am a woman, and people feel like they can attack women more than they attack men.
Yeah. And
misogyny is very, very obvious in our society, regardless of whether it's the Afghan community or anywhere else. It's there. So yeah, the way I keep going is to remind myself who I am, why I came into this, and to know that they don't actually know me as a person, and that as long as my parents and like my family are happy with what I'm doing, then it's all okay.
Wonderful. And because you've got more experience, like in your third term now, what would you say has been the best part of being a local councillor, and what do you tolerate? as being the local councillor?
I enjoy meeting so many different people who care about the like really niche little things in life that you've never ever thought about, but that they spend their entire their whole life trying to fix.
Yeah.
And because we need people like that in our community, because if they didn't exist, then some of these things wouldn't get sorted out. Like we have this woman who is obsessed with cleaning the streets, and she runs a litter picking group. And the things she knows and the facts that she knows, we don't know. So it's just mind blowing sometimes. But yeah, you have these little things that come up, and then there's like funny sort of like things that happen, and it just makes you laugh when you think back to it, about your experience as a counsellor and how you handled that and how you spoke to them. And
And what do you tolerate about your role?
what do I tolerate? Oh, I guess I tolerate the negative abuse online. I tolerate that a lot. People tell me don't respond, don't reply. Sometimes I reply. Or I know I shouldn't, but sometimes it happens. I do. I'm human at the end of the day. So I think I've been tolerating that for a long time, but even then I've kind of been fighting back a little bit too. So yeah.
You've been part of the Labour Party since 2018 when you first got elected. You were part of the Labour Party. And obviously, in the recent years, Labour Party has come under scrutiny, saying that they've not done a good job, especially when it comes to migration. A lot of people are coming in the country, and people are saying, oh, they need to close the borders, they need to take control of that. Or, for example, we've got problems with they're saying, everything's becoming expensive, or NHS is a problem. But you've still stuck with Labour. What makes Labour so special for you?
So I don't think any political party is perfect. And I think sometimes they'll do things or say things that you might not agree with, or pass policies that you don't agree with. But at the end of the day, we believe in collective responsibility. Just because a decision has been made that we might not like, it's a decision made through a process within our party. We have policy processes within our party that make those decisions on policy. Although it works a bit differently now that we're in government, previously before, and it's always been based on our manifesto. But now that we're in government, there are some decisions that have come about, that ministers have made that maybe not all Labour Party members agree with. I think that the Labour Party is just like any other party. It's not perfect, but for me, it's like getting on the right bus that takes you to the direction that you want to get to. And that direction for me is equality, justice on specific issues, better housing, decent jobs, and a fair opportunity at life for everyone. And I think the Labour Party offers that and has always offered that in different ways. And I think there's good people in the Labour Party who are fighting for that. And so it sometimes is like a battle of ideas, whichever idea wins. Sometimes you get taken in a different direction. And I think with the change of prime minister and leader, we might be going in a different direction now. And every year or every political cycle demands something different. And I think that you're right in that the Labour Party now needs to focus on bringing the cost of living down. People are struggling with their bills. They can't pay their electricity or gas or their rent, and food prices are high. Just having a car and paying insurance, these kinds of very basic things for life, very difficult. And I think Andy Burnham's made a commitment to try and bring that cost of living down, and I completely support that. On immigration and migration, I think for us as Afghans, obviously that's a big topic, because we see the largest number of people coming over on small boats are from Afghanistan or from Iran, or from sort of the other neighboring countries around Afghanistan. I don't agree with Shabana Mahmood's changes to indefinite leave to remain. I think it's unfair. I think it's deeply unfair. And we've consistently made that point across within our party to the top. But there is a feeling at the top of our party that if we don't get these changes across, that the feeling around immigration across the entire country, that we will be then setting ourselves up for a system in the future where there is no immigration system, where people won't ever be able to come here and gain citizenship, and that we're actually leveling the playing field between us and other countries. And so people shouldn't think that the UK is a soft target where we just let anyone and everyone in. I agree that we need to control our borders. It is a national security issue for the Labour Party, for any government, any party who wishes to govern the United Kingdom. You can't just have people coming on boats and entering the UK without you knowing who those people are, without having background searches on those people, because unfortunately there are people who want to harm our country, the United Kingdom, and these people are going to use small boats to do that, and some people already are. So I agree with our policy on trying to stop the boats. I think what we should be doing is opening safe and legal routes for people who have the right to come to the United Kingdom to come, and having access to a fair and just asylum process. You know, I don't think any political party is perfect, but we need to keep trying and we can't give up. And if I was to walk away, I don't think there would be any other vehicle or any other political party that I would see myself being part of. I'm Labour through and through. Yeah.
Okay. And now I'm going to talk about a little bit about Afghanistan, because I know that you've been an Afghan advocate. You always speak about Afghanistan in media, and you criticize the issues that they are going through, especially women and the limited access that they have. I want to take you back to 15th of August 2021, where I found out that you were in Afghanistan when the government changed all of a sudden and things just took a drastic turn. You were there. How did you feel when you realized that, it's not a rumor, the new government is coming and it's, Taliban?
I think it was the most traumatic experience of my life. It probably changed me as a person. It changed my outlook on life. It changed how I view people, friendships, relationships, just everything in my life. So I was in Afghanistan about mid-July, visiting my dad, and everything was normal up until the 10th of August, I would say. I wasn't watching the TV like other people maybe in London were, because the BBC was reporting every single fall of every single province that was falling to the Taliban. Kabul was very, very normal up until the day before the Taliban entered Kabul. And obviously my experience of trying to get out and watching the Taliban come into the city and seeing basically an entire government collapse right in front of your eyes, the police run away from their posts. The entire infrastructure, the institution basically just collapsed. The idea, but also you saw it with your own eyes collapsing right in front of you, and the Taliban coming and taking over those posts and positions. And it was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever experienced in my life, to know what was coming and to know what was going to happen, because we all knew who the Taliban were, we all knew what they were capable of, but we were being told that they're different this time, that it's going to be different this time. Yeah, I think it broke my heart really, and it changed me as a person, and it was the most traumatic thing I've ever been through. Yeah.
I mean, to me, like any other Afghans, from the bottom of my heart, I just want peace. Whoever brings that peace, whether it be the current government or the previous, whoever is that person, I wouldn't want peace. And to me, I'm just thinking, if not the Taliban, if not the previous government, then who is the solution? Because at the end of the day, it's the people, it's the civilians that pay the price. I mean, me and you, we've been fortunate enough where we've come here, we're safe, we're in a good place.
Yeah.
But who is the solution?
I think any change in Afghanistan obviously has not been led by the Afghans themselves. There's been a lot of interference from outside countries, especially Pakistan and Iran, including the United States, the United Kingdom, Russia, China. Everyone has sort of interfered in Afghanistan for since the Russian invasion, really, and even before then. So I think that for me, when people ask that question of, okay, so what's the alternative? My answer to that is the alternative already exists, and the alternative is young people in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is one of the most youngest countries in the region in terms of age. The median age is 18 in the country. Its young people are thirsty and dying for a better system of life. And I think that is the future of Afghanistan. And we should be putting our faith and our, our hope in that young generation. But unfortunately and very sadly, that young generation won't have a chance to build something, good for them if they're being radicalized and brainwashed into believing very, incredibly strict and extreme versions of Islamic teachings. So I think that is the danger. I want to believe in those young people because they're already doing amazing things, even in these extreme, difficult circumstances. I just want them to be able to have that opportunity without being radicalized and brainwashed.
And you've been someone that's gone back and forth to Afghanistan. Do you see yourself going during this regime?
No.
Not at all.
I have not returned to Afghanistan since I was evacuated in 2021. I have not gone. However, I don't have any issue with other Afghans if they wish to go and return and to visit Afghanistan. I think that it's not my place to tell someone not to visit their homeland. It's not my place to tell someone not to go and experience it. I just wish that they had experienced it when the Taliban weren't in power, because then they would be able to see the difference. And although I haven't gone in the last 5 years, I obviously keep track of what's happening on the ground, and I get reports from people I know on the ground, not just my family and friends, but people that I have long established relationships with based on my humanitarian work that I've done in the country, who tell me about the situation on the ground and how much it's changed and what the challenges and difficulties are under the Taliban regime based on these gender apartheid rulings that they've basically put into place around women and girls, but also men and boys. So I would not visit. No.
Coming back to the UK, in your line of work, you've met a lot of influential figures. You've met, for example, Malala Yousafzai. You've met Barack Obama. You've met Ahmed Karzai, the former president of Afghanistan, and etc. Who has impacted you the most? Like, who has been the most that you've met and has made an everlasting impression upon you?
I think I can't say one person. I have to say both that you've already mentioned, actually. President Karzai and President Obama, both in their own individual different ways. And I think that because it speaks to both my identities in some way. President Obama speaks more to my Western identity, that Anglo, identity, and then President Karzai speaks more to the Afghan identity. And when I first met President Karzai in 2016, it was March, it was Nowruz. I visited his office, and the way that he embraced or welcomed me to his office and took me around and then invited me back, the way he didn't judge me on my language skills, accepted me fully for who I am, but also accepted me fully for being an Afghan, you know? Probably the only person in Afghanistan who didn't say to me, yeah, but you're British, you're not really Afghan. So I think that has been very life-changing and inspiring in its own way. That those consistent sort of meetings with the president and being able to have those conversations about identity and belonging and what it means to be an Afghan, but who grew up in the West and was educated in the West. And at the same time with President Obama, it's how to be an ethnic minority in the West, functioning in a system that sometimes doesn't want you to belong, and that consistent reminder that you do belong, that the work that you do matters, that you should keep going. So I think both of them in their own way have been influential in my thinking around different issues.
I just want to close up now. Obviously, we've got a new Prime Minister. We've got a new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, and you've met him.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on him and him taking on this role? What do you think? What kind of a Prime Minister do you think he'll be?
Well, we have yet to see what kind of Prime Minister he'll eventually end up being, so I don't want to predict that. But what I do want to say is that I think that Andy Burnham will be a different Prime Minister to Keir Starmer. He'll be less robotic, more hopefully in touch with the ground in terms of what's happening. And I think the other difference is that Andy Burnham's been in politics for a really long time, so he knows how the system works. He knows how to be a politician in a good way, in the sense that you know what works, what doesn't, and how to make things move, and where not to get stuck, or where not to listen to civil servants, or not to be guided by the civil service. I'm really looking for someone. I hope that Andy Burnham is going to be a very political Prime Minister, and I think that he will be, because he's made that commitment about nationalising specific industries to try and bring the cost of living down. I'm excited about what the future holds now, and I think that it will be different to what we've had before. So hopefully he makes those things happen so that life gets easier for all of us.
And from someone that's been in the Labour Party, what do you think that he should do that Keir Starmer didn't do? What do you think he should do that Keir Starmer did not do?
Well, it relates to Afghanistan, obviously. I think that Andy Burnham should recognise that there's a gender apartheid regime in Afghanistan, and support and make the UK officially support that campaign and that resolution at the UN, so that we can hold the Taliban to account for the crimes against humanity that they're committing. I think that's what he should do on the foreign policy front, for sure. On domestically, I think that he needs to help people with their cost of living, bring the cost of living down, and also to reunite the country and bring people together, and remove these divides between Black, white, Asian, Muslim, Hindu, and to make people feel like they belong in one country and they're living under, that we're all in this together, and that we can only get out of it by working together. So.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Peymana John, for coming and for taking time to speak.
Thank you so much, Diana John. We're very proud of you, very proud of everything that you've achieved.
Thank you very much.